everybody. Welcome back to Out of Left Field. I'm Abby Alonso, your host. I am finally on this freaking couch. It's taken long enough, but I am joined by an awesome superstar of a human being, Tori Vidales. If you don't know her, you will after this one. She is all over the place. Team Mexico Olympian, AUSL vet, and you may have seen her on TV because she does, in fact, do analysis for softball for ESPN and SEC. Crazy. And we're going to dig into all of that today. So, Tori, thank you for joining me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that softball is finally getting an opportunity to show off their personalities because there is a lot of them in this sport and a lot of voices that need to be heard.
Say it again. Yes, y'all heard that. For the people who don't know you, maybe this is their first time, like, who's Tori? Who is Tori? How would you introduce yourself to somebody who didn't know you?
Yeah, well, like you said, my name's Tori. I played softball at Texas A&M. I've always kind of been the one to speak up in circumstances, so, like, definitely not shy. Like, I'm gonna be the one cracking the jokes, probably getting us where we need to go. I like to live life just, like, as it comes, so whatever that means, like, I'm rolling with the flow, like, I can pivot really easily, I'm very adjustable. I would say that's, like, one of my greatest strengths on and off the field. I love reading. I love playing Fortnite with some of my teammates. Yeah, I've got a lot of side hobbies.
Wow.
Jack of all trades, master of none is
Oh.
always what I get because I have a lot of interests outside softball, but obviously softball is like the one I'm trying to master. So we're working
Right.
on the side hobbies, but I feel like those are important. But yeah, like you mentioned, love to talk about softball. My two jobs, I get to play softball and talk about softball. I mean, there could not be a better option for me.
I definitely want to dig into that because I am just astounded at how you balance both, which we'll talk about. But my favorite thing that you just did, you probably don't even know you did it. You did not identify as a softball player. You just went into who you are, what you like, what you stand for, what's important to you. But you did not identify as a softball player. And I think that is a message right off the bat for anybody watching this. You are not what you do. And Tori just showed you that simply by her introduction. So that's awesome. But I do want to dig into the softball part.
Oh,
We have
absolutely.
to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, Kind of your origin story. This is one of my favorite questions. I feel like you really learn about an athlete when you figure out where they started and why they started. So, what was that for you?
Yeah, well, I started softball, I mean, pretty much out of the womb, I say, because my parents both played. So my dad played baseball at Texas Tech, and my mom played basketball actually at Blinn College, which just so happens to be 40 minutes down the road of where I ended up going to college. So it's a cool little full circle moment. But yeah, they
Yeah.
met at Texas Tech, so they're Red Raiders at heart. So you know that they were loving this last year when Tech made it
Oh,
to the finals of
what
the
is
World
it?
Series, and Jerry Glasgow was my coach at A&M, so they're very connected to him and to Tech at the same time, so it was, like, really cool for them to get to experience, but yeah, so I started really early. My brother also played baseball, so it's kind of in the family. We tried a little bit of everything, but I both of us ended up coming back to softball and baseball, the diamond sports. It's just hard to get away.
Yeah.
But I continued to play. I started on a select team, right? Like when you're 8,
Hmm.
9 years old, it's select,
Yeah.
but it's not quite as intense as it is now back then whenever I was playing. But yeah, I did the travel ball thing for a little while. We were traveling, playing every weekend, just keeping busy. And then my 8th grade year, I was playing on technically it was a 14U team, but we were playing up for 16U because we knew that that's where all the college coaches were. So we would go and we honestly started dominating some of these tournaments, and the group that we had was very local, but we had stayed together and we were all very talented, but when you put us together, it was magic. So we noticed that we were like starting to win some of these tournaments and we were like, "Wait, like we actually have a shot at this. We're
Kind
pretty
of good.
good." Yeah, like, "Okay, we can get down with this." So yeah,
Yeah.
playing with that team was actually the first time I ever came in contact with Coach Joe Evans, who was my coach at A&M. And because of the rules with, NCAA at the time, like we weren't in high school yet, so we could talk to the coaches. So after one of the
Whoa.
tournaments, we had gotten like rained out, or it was some weird moment where there were a lot of teams that were trying to see whether or not we were gonna play that championship game. I think it might have been, like, time issues for everyone to get back home on a Sunday, but regardless, I ended up talking to Coach Evans, and she was like, "I'd love for you to come to a camp," and all of these things, and at that point, I had no idea what my future was gonna be in softball. Like, I knew I wanted to play in college, but I didn't know where I would be going or what surely I could have never guessed that it would be as big as it is now, that I would still be playing
Yeah.
at almost 30 years old. I will be 30 in April, so I'll be playing as a 30-year-old this summer, which is incredible and such a huge feat, and I'm so happy and proud of myself, and I hope that, like, other people can play that long and, their financial situations allow them, their body physically allows them to, but back to my story. So I end up I know I can go off on a tangent, so just
Yeah,
you
that's
let me know.
okay.
So yeah, I ended up talking to Coach Evans, and after that year, our team kind of disbanded just because there were a lot of people going in different directions, and I
Mhm.
had got I don't even know how it happened, but Impact Gold kind of got in contact with me. They were like, "We'd love for you to come try out." And at the time, Impact Gold, now there's a million teams in every state,
I
but
was
at the
gonna s
time
yeah.
there was only one, and that one was the one that was asking me to come play, and I was like, "Oh, I've never heard of them." Like, I wasn't really in the softball world in that aspect. Like, I just knew I
Right.
liked to play. So, I finally, like, learned a little bit about them. I learned that they had a recruiter that was talking to college coaches. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is really serious. Like, this is crazy," you know? And, me and one of my other friends, we were the only 2 freshmen that ended up making the team. So we're, like, trying to find our way as freshmen, carrying all the buckets, rolling the bags, kinda just, like, taking orders from our upperclassmen, and we didn't really get a lot of playing time, and that was really, like, kind of the eye-opening moment for me. My coach, actually, Casey Jackson, he had some family, issues that he was dealing with, so he actually took the summer off of coaching, and we had, like, a fill-in temporary coach come in, and he was under the impression that freshmen shouldn't play. So I just kind of, like, had to take it, like, I had to just eat it and swallow it and figure out, "Okay, well, if I'm not gonna get an opportunity to be on the field, like, how can I learn? Like, how can I get a little bit better even without being in between the white lines?" And so that year, I think, really tested me because I had never been that person that was sitting on the bench and having to watch other people living what I wanted to be living, and so
Right.
that made me take a hard look in the mirror and be like, "Okay, what do I want out of this? And how can I, push past this? Because it's not gonna be like this forever, but I wanna learn from this moment." So, luckily, freshman year, so we would only get to play really during the pool games of all the tournaments that we were in, but it worked out for us because we were still going to camps on the side, and we were still getting to play against a lot of these really talented and older players and seeing success during pool games, but it just wasn't in the high pressure situations. So I was able to get a scholarship, actually committed to Texas A&M as a freshman, which is hilarious because I only took one visit. I only went to A&M,
Holy.
only visited them and didn't really look at anywhere else. Obviously, now going back, I wish I would have looked at more places, but I made the right decision, and I know that for myself, so I'm, like, very content with that decision, even as a freshman. I always say, made my biggest decision of my life at 14 years old, the day before I got my driver's permit, mind you. Insane. Yeah.
Yes,
Insane.
Michaela and I just talked about this on the last episode of recruiting and
Yep.
how crazy it is that you're asking kids who can't drive a car to make a decision for themselves in the next 4 to 5 years and so on and so forth, because it's not just a 4-year decision, like, this is a
Post.
lifetime decision,
Yeah.
like, and it just blows my mind to hear so many different stories that are so similar yet so different, but it's all, I just made the decision. It happened to be the best one that I made, but I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I took one visit.
Yeah.
It's insane to me. It blows my mind.
Yeah, and of course, like, your parents or your guardians are gonna be
Right.
there, like, trying to help you make the best decision, but I think your parents know that ultimately it is your choice. Like, you are going to be the one living that and, like, being on that team and getting coached by that staff. So it's important, I think, for the player to have a little bit of a hold of those reins of their own future, but to be guided by their parents. And, like, how do you do that at 14, right? Like, my parents were just like, "What do you think? Like, it's your choice, you know?"
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they were there to, like, help me through that, but I'm so glad that the rule was changed, so now that they can't make that decision until at least junior year, I think that is such a smart decision
Yep.
for everyone involved. But yeah, so I committed at 14 and then kinda just, like, kept on the path of, playing with impact and, still trying to get better and be prepared as I go into college, and eventually get to college, things were great. We weren't super I don't wanna say not talented because we were talented, we just weren't competitive in the league that we were in my freshman year. We had some
Right.
holes on our team, and so even though I had a great year, we as a team weren't meeting some of those goals that we had set in place, and so, it was a really cool journey, I think, for our class specifically because I came in with I think it was 6 freshmen, and we all not everyone made it to senior year, like, obviously injuries and different life paths and
Yeah,
stuff like
right.
that, but, we ended up finishing with 6 as well, so it was kind of like a full circle moment. We start with 6, it may not be the same 6, but we ended together, and, like, the core group, there was, I think, 4 of us that started as freshmen and went all 4 years, finished our career at A&M, and, like, have really had built that program back into relevance in a way because my freshman year we came in, we were not even competing in the conference, and then moved to junior year and we made it to the World Series. So, the growth that we were able to achieve in those 4 years was incredible, and I always, like, think about how special our class specifically was because of the versatility and the size really of it too, but also the talent, and, like, for all of us to stay all 4 years, it's, like, unheard of now, you'd never hear of that
Yeah,
many
well,
people
yeah.
lasting. Yeah, with the transfer portal, that wasn't a thing back
I
then,
was gonna
so,
say, right.
um
That wasn't a choice.
yeah, no, we didn't really have a choice. If you wanted to leave, you had to sit out a year, and I think a lot of
Yep.
us were committed to the mission of, honoring our word and honoring our commitment, and we believed in our team, we believed in Coach Evans, and we loved A&M, and we knew ultimately that if we graduated with a degree from A&M, like, that would be putting us in a great position for our life, not necessarily softball-wise, but career-wise. Like, if anything were to ever
Right.
happen, that's one of the things they tell you on your visit is, like, if you get a degree from A&M, you have a job in Texas no matter what.
Well,
Aggies
shit.
take care of Aggies, right, you're like, "Well, that's a pretty good sell, I like that
It's a
idea."
pro. Add that to the pro side, yeah.
Right, right. Oh my goodness, and then so I graduate in 2018, mind you, I'm, like, a two-time All-American, like, I've got some pretty good accolades on my resume. I didn't get drafted. So it was kind of like a
Ooh,
moment where I was like, "Oh, I never really thought about what I wanted to do after college in the terms of, like, getting a regular 9 to 5, like, something that you show up to an office every day that I knew that wouldn't
right.
be fulfilling for me, but I also knew that I didn't wanna stop playing softball.
So so prior to that happening, you not getting drafted, did you intended to go play professional softball? That was gonna be your career?
Well, I knew that
Or
I was going to play with Team Mexico because at the time, I started with
right.
Team Mexico in 2016, the summer after my sophomore year. So I had already been kind of in an international landscape for a few
Yep.
years, and I knew that no matter what, I would still continue playing with them. So I knew softball wasn't over, I just didn't know what the path would look like. But
Okay.
thankfully, so I didn't get drafted, but, Scrapyard at the time was an independent team and not doing a draft, of course, and, it's in my area. So I'm from Houston, Texas, grew up in LaPorte, which is like 25, 30 minutes from downtown, and Scrapyard was in Conroe, which is maybe like 30 minutes north of downtown. So it's about an hour from me, so it was a great location for my family to come watch me. I
Yeah.
didn't really have to, like, move anywhere, which was really nice, and they gave me an opportunity. They were like, "Yeah, we'd love to have you." And that year was crazy because there was probably 60 of us on the roster for Scrapyard, but we were split into 2 teams, so it was almost like national team versus
Okay.
Scrapyard. So it was a very
Okay.
interesting year, but I didn't like, the landscape of softball was so different at the time, like, MPF was the only league, really, a lot of teams were kinda splitting off, becoming independent, and being new to the pro space, I didn't know any better, I just was like, "Oh, they're
Right.
gonna pay me to play softball, cool, like, I'm in." And then so 2018, had a great summer, was still playing with Mexico. Actually, that year we had gone to Japan for the World Cup, but it was nice because I got to meet a lot of the girls that I was playing against, like a lot of the USA girls. And I met Britt Vonk she plays for the Netherlands, and just like so many different people that I would have never met if I didn't
Mhm.
go play post A&M. So that was a great opportunity, and just, getting to hear how people work. Like, what do you do in the off season? Oh, well, how do you make your money? Or how do you deal with this situation? And there's like so many things that come up when you're with somebody every single day of the summer. So
Yep.
that part of it was really invaluable because of the things that you can gather without having to really go anywhere or do any research. It's just natural conversation that starts coming up.
Yep.
So 2018 and then 2019, Team Mexico, actually in preparation for the Olympics, we wanted to find a way for all of us to play together. So we were told that Mexico and the Cleveland Comets were going to kind of combine and use that as a training opportunity for us. Because most of the time, Team Mexico was never training together. We were always training on our own and then coming together for a tournament and having to
Right.
kind of just like create that bond, that momentum that you have to be a well-oiled machine. It's not something that
Right.
just happens. It's built over time. So we end up going back to the MPF, which was a major salary cut for us as well. We had to go back, and then we did not have great coaches for Team Mexico. They were um, very emotionally like up and down, and they
Mm.
didn't really give us the respect as pros that we deserved. We were very much so treated like young women who really didn't have any experience in softball. And trust me, this is going very lightly, but it was just not a good time being with Mexico. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest with you. The girls, amazing, best time of my life. The coaches, can't say the same.
Wow.
So, yeah, there was a lot of like turmoil behind the scenes with Team Mexico, which made it really hard to want to continue. But obviously, like, you've been working your whole life, and like you're representing more than just yourself at that point. Like, I'm thinking about my grandparents who were no longer with us at the time, but like I know that they're looking down, being like, my granddaughter's wearing Mexico on her shirt. Like, how cool is it that she's proud to be here? How that she's proud to be from Mexico, and like, I'm brown. You look at me and you automatically see it, right? There's no hiding it. So to be able to be celebrated in that aspect, doing the one thing we love was special for us. So
Oh.
it's just crazy how like it all happened. So we played with Comets. We end up qualifying for the Olympics that summer, which that training camp did pay off because we spent so much time together. We got so close, and like we went through a lot of these ups and downs together. We go to Canada, we end up beating Puerto Rico and Canada, who were like the two that we were most concerned about going into that tournament, and we qualify. It was awesome. Like, we had such a great game, and the funny part to me is looking back before we were in Peru for, I think it was, the Pan Am Games, and we played like garbage. Like, it was so bad. Every call that could happen did not go our way. Like, it'd be like a ball rolling down the line, it would just stay fair. A close
Stuff
tag
you
play at
can't make up.
second, she's safe. Like, are you kidding me? Like, how
You
many
just
times
yeah.
can this go wrong? We lost the bronze medal game to Puerto Rico on a walk-off home run. Like, it
Uh,
was just one after the other, right? So, I remember being in the locker room, we're fed up from the whole summer, we're like, "Oh my gosh, like, is it over? Like, did we waste our time for all of these years?" Obviously, in the moment, you're like, "Oh my god, no, we wasted our time." We
right.
didn't waste our time, but it feels like that because you come up short and you're like, "Ugh, I've done everything I could, like, why not us?" So we go
Hmm.
back, this is probably like a week and a half later, we finally get to go home the first time all summer. We're recharged, we see our people, like, we just feel a new sense of like, let's get it? So we get there. I remember very vividly, we were playing hacky sack after like the opening ceremony, and we were just kind of looking at each other, and we had all built this really strong bond, and we were like, "Guys, this could be our last time to ever play together." And we were like, we didn't think about it like that. Like, "Oh my gosh, that's actually really crazy." So we're mid hacky sack game. We're like, you know what? forget about the coaches, forget about the results, like, forget about everything. Let's just go have fun. Like, let's enjoy this last time together. Who cares what happens? Of course, right when we do that, everything starts going our way. We're cheering in the dugout, we're scoring runs, we're getting, like, hits that somehow fall, like the big leaguer that just falls over the third baseman's head,
Yep.
like those balls that were going foul for us are now staying fair. Close calls at first are going our way. Like so many things are happening. We're like, guys, this is it. Like, don't you feel that? Like you can feel when those things are going your way. So we played Canada and we end up having just an incredible game. I think we ended up winning 2-1, beating Canada on their home field in front of all of their fans, celebrating and seeing our
Oof.
parents in the stands with like their Mexico jerseys, their sombreros, like they had all kind of noisemakers, like, but it was such a small group. So it was so funny, like in the grand scheme of
Oh.
things, it was so small, but it felt so big.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that was like an amazing feeling qualifying for the Olympics and just like knowing that we stayed together and we did it. So we qualify,
Mhm.
our training continues, obviously. So that next summer, COVID had hit at that point. So COVID hit February or March of 2020. And we were supposed to be on a spring tour throughout the spring and summer to go play and prepare ourselves for the Olympics. Obviously, we had no idea COVID was going to happen. So NPF shut down, so there was none of that gonna happen. Thankfully, AU came out of the woodworks and was like, "Hey, this new league," and we're like, "New league? Like, girl, there's already been so
This
many
is
leagues, like, what are they gonna do new that's gonna be
sus.
different?" Like, where
Yeah.
are they getting this money to pay us? And, like, all of these things, like, real life, like,
Valid.
who are these
Valid.
people? Like, are they just trying to make a quick buck? Like, are they invested in
Right.
softball? Like, what's
Sus.
happening? But then we get on a call with, Sherry Kemp, who at the time was, she had, like, a little bit of a different role. I'm not sure she's more, like, on the broadcast side now, but she was, like, the director of softball for a long time for AU, and obviously trying to make this league happen during COVID was a very, very big workload, but somehow we were able to make it happen, and that was one of the best summers ever because we were forced to get to know each other because of COVID. We couldn't really go anywhere, and it was, like, forced proximity turned friendship. And,
This
like,
is what you have, make it
right.
work.
No, literally, and it was so fun because it really did force us to, like, hang out with people that maybe we might not have crossed paths with beforehand, and, like, you couldn't really do anything, so we turned our Mondays, which was the last game of the series, into Margarita Mondays, and that was the only thing that we had to, like, celebrate, let loose, have fun, and
Come
Margarita
on.
Monday became like a huge, huge moment, like a blink or what do they call it? A wrinkle in time. Like if I
A
could go
wrinkle in
back
time.
to the very first Margarita Monday, Nadia Taylor dancing on the field with her gray sweatsuit, just like being a menace on the field. And like just those memories, like we were playing WAP in the dome and
Oh,
like,
Lord. Yeah.
like just like girls being girls and, like, all having fun
Yes.
together. Everybody let their guard down. It was such a fun summer, and, like, on the field, we felt because there were no fans in the stands either. So we were kinda just, like, having a good time. We were bringing all these props, making it feel, like, important and, like, um, just, like,
How do
bigger than
you
it was in the moment.
How do you do that though? Because I've gotten to talk to a lot of athletes that did play through COVID, whether it was baseball or softball or football. But how do you continue to feel relevant? Like what you're doing is important when it is dead in the stadium because fan energy is huge, right? It's
Mhm.
not just a marketing thing. Like, yes, you want to fill the seats on the business side, but also it directly affects the players on the field that was completely eliminated from the game, so how do you continue to show up and, push through when like, what the heck are we doing this for?
Yeah. Well, I think it helped too that it was the first year, so we had no idea what it was like to play in front of that many fans,
Yes.
and a lot of it is, like, to me, I'm like, "We love this game." Like, we enjoy playing this game, so when something good does happen and you in the dugout are all like exploding with joy and like you're so hype, that honestly is like what's really giving you that fuel to be like, all right, you're next. Like you got the bat next or you want the ball next. And the fans really became an afterthought in our head because you were so used to not having them that we made it
Wow.
more about us and about the connection within the team. So the first year we really started naming all the teams. So like if you were team gold, I know that they had gold diggers, they had the sunflowers, they had the golden arches. Like we had so many different things that we were playing off of, like uh Team Purple. What were they that one time? They were like the Purple Power Rangers, or there was one. There were so many. We ran out of ideas because that's how like many times we had to name our team. Like I was captain of blue team, and we were the Cookie Monsters.
Oh, y'all
Because
made
we
it
were eating
fun
the
though. Like
cookies.
you
Yeah, you
oh my
had to keep
god.
it fun. It had to be fun, and that was what kept us going because then it turned into like, "All right, what's our team name?" Like, the buy-in became all about, like, how much can you put into this one
Yes.
team? And the phrase "buy in or retire" actually came from 2020 because you had to buy into the team. Like, you just had to. There was nobody else to buy into. You were not getting energy from fans, really from broadcasts because that was a little different too.
Right.
And if you weren't in it, like, you just kinda felt like an outsider, and nobody wants to feel like an outsider, so you're just like, "All right, like, screw it, let's buy in," and we'll still say that today. Like, I will say that today. I'll be like, "Buy in or retire, guys." Like, last season, we would start cawing, and I would just be a menace with it, like,
With
going
the
crazy.
talent?
Yes, with talons. So I'd be like, "Caw, caw," and I would try to get everyone to do it, and I'd be like, "Buy in or retire." Like, you don't get to choose to be fake
You're
and
the
then wear the
dugout.
jersey.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Buy in,
Call or you need to hang it up. Call
caw
right
or
now or
leave."
hang it up. That's it.
Legit. So,
That's that's so awesome to hear though, because like it brings joy to the sport, and I feel like people feel that. Like, even
yeah,
at the few games that I got to go to this past season, like, you got as much as y'all care about your fan base and y'all do the way that y'all would come into the stands after games and just connect with people, even through social media, but I think it starts because y'all care about each other and y'all care about the game, and you can feel that, like, quite literally, as soon as I walked in, I was like, "Damn, this is so good for the sport." Like, y'all love it, and you
I
feel it.
love that.
So hearing that makes so much sense.
Yeah, well, and too, like, softball's in a cool spot where, like, we haven't been on the top of the pedestal for a really long time, so a lot of those things that you don't get at other sports facilities are kind of expected of us because we were trying to
Right.
grow the game, and, like, there was a time where, I was playing in front of 20 people, 50 people, and, like, you just do it. Like, that's just you're playing for the love of the game and not for the notoriety or trying to be a big star. Like, I don't wanna try to go
Yeah.
to the NFL and get in the first round and, like, be rich. Like, I
Right.
wanna be the best
Right.
at the sport, you know? So, that's always a cool aspect of it to me for the fan side is that you're never gonna go to MLB game and get to have a 10-minute conversation with, whoever at the end of the game, and Bryce Harper
Not
comes over to
unless you're
you and is
paying big
talking about
bucks. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
like, he's talking about,
Ye
what he puts in his hair after the game or, just, like, a workout routine or, like, your Fortnite stats or your favorite gun in Fortnite. Like, there's so many conversations that I've had with fans that I'm like, "Wow, I would have never expected that to happen, but I kinda love that." And even the days that you don't want to go out there, it's like somebody will just young girl will be like, "You played so good." And in my head, I'm like, "I just struck out 3 times. Ugh, I
Thank
hate
you
my
for the
life, like, I suck at softball." And they're like, "You're so amazing, like, keep playing, like, you're my favorite player." And I'm like, "Ugh, you got me, like, you're right, I'm gonna keep
yeah,
playing. I'll keep going just
I'm
for
not
you."
retiring.
Yeah, keep
So
going just for you.
coming from that, you are playing for the love of the game and for your teammates and for yourself, and you're not worried about anybody in the stands. When you sell out Dell Diamond, when you go to these crowds where you're surrounded by fans, what is that perspective? What does that feel like?
It is honestly undescribable. Like, when you think about it in the scheme of, like, seeing both, right? Like, seeing cardboard cutouts in the stands 2020 to having real life fans come up to the field with your team's name on their shirt, like with your name on their back. Like it's such a 180 that it really, I think, more than any sport, allows us to appreciate where we started and like how far we've come. And
Yeah.
especially with AU because of like how different everything was when we first started and now how much traction it's growing and gaining. And for me, I always think back of like AU has always taken care of us. Like they've always made us feel like professionals, and still to this day, like hiring Kim Ing, like having all of these teams, all of the drafts, the talent that come to do the drafts, like people are talking about our sport in the main media. Like I will be scrolling on TikTok, seeing people talking about our team, and I'm like, is this real life? Like people care about, our sport and like
Yeah,
they're actually
yeah,
wanting the tea on all of our, all of our teams, all of our inside jokes, all of these things. I'm
yep.
like, wow, how cool. But also it like gives you another perspective. Not everybody always knows what's going on too. So it's like a double-edged
You're like,
sword,
"Ah."
right? Of like,
Yeah, y'all are so
okay,
off, it's not even funny.
yeah, like sometimes you're like, ooh, they kind of read my tea. Like, mm, they got it. But then other times
Talked.
you're like, girl, no, like you're not even close, So it's just so funny because you have these same thoughts about other like sports teams, but a lot of the times you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. So it is amazing to see it because behind closed doors, like I know that AU is treating these players well and like trying truly to grow not only the game, but like our own personal brands too, which
Yeah,
is
dude.
a big part of having a career like this.
S so, the whole reason that I have this podcast started with one TikTok, and I was encouraged, like, just make content about softball. Like, just try it. Like, I cover football, I cover baseball, and I was like, all right, you know what, College World Series, whatever. So I start putting it up. I, the numbers, the views are going. I'm like, holy shit, this many people care about softball.
Yeah.
So I kept doing it. James reaches out through email and he's like, hey, do you want to partner with us and do the creator program with the AUSL? I'm like, holy, sure. So I went up there and as I'm in the dome and I'm kind of doing some interviews and stuff, I'm watching him sit down with players individually and talk about their brand. And I was
Mhm.
like, what other league is sitting down like it is a an important part to the whole system, but making each person feel seen, heard, like, hey, we're gonna help you. Like, not just, hey, I need you to grow your brand so that, the money and the numbers and everything translates to our side. Sitting down, taking the time to figure out and strategize how to help each individual player. That was so cool to see. And then I talked to Peyton Gottschall a couple weeks ago, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like Kim Eng and Aubrey and Sam, we sat down and they asked us what we thought like could be better, what we liked, what we didn't like, how the league like individual meetings with players and the commissioner. Again, where else are you seeing that? You're not truly. So props to the AUSL, like the players, the coaches, the staff, the front office, like they're doing it the right way and building it from the ground up is hard, but everybody's on the same page and you can as an outsider, I'm in media. I don't know the ins and outs, but I got to see like organic and genuine care for each other and for the sport and that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, no, it's honestly one of the best parts about AU, and I always say this, but the reason I think AU took off was because of our media people, like Adeline, James, Savannah, Jade, Jenny, like all the people that have been there since the
Yeah.
very, very beginning. Not only were we building relationships with each other throughout that time, but like we also saw them every single day. So, like Adeline works social media, all the social media pages, and like I'll text her if I need something. Like her and I are cool. Like, James, like I can text him if I need anything or if I need suggestion on this caption or what he thinks about this reel. Savannah has like broadcasting questions. She'd be like, how would you handle this situation? Or like, what do you think? Or, so I I see how hard they work. And I think honestly, truly, that they have been such a big part of why the league has grown at the rate it's grown. And without them, like, I really don't think that we would be where we are now. Like, the brains behind the operation, yes, like, we bring the talent to the field, but the behind the scenes is truly the thing that keeps this going, because without it, like, you'd never know we were here. So them being able to, make all this cool content, make all the photography, like, Jade is phenomenal. Hope too. I can't forget Hope and Aaron, like, they've been there as well. But they have poured so much, not only into softball too, mind you, like, they were doing 4 sports at one time, just working themselves to the bone, like, hard,
Dude.
working hard, and, like, they love it so much, and so I love that we're seeing the league grow, and, like, mostly in part to that creative team behind the scenes because they make us look good.
Oof. Yeah, we're clipping that. That's going on social media. I'm gonna tag all of them. They deserve
Yes,
their
please
flowers too.
do. Yes, I love
Um,
them so much.
but Tori, as we're talking about media, you, my girl, are right in there as well. If y'all didn't know this, she was fully covering the College World Series the night before opening day. I saw the reel of you in the batting gloves and everything. That's hilarious. But like, you're a big part of that too on both sides. And what's happening with ESPN and broadcast rights and the contracts and everything, like this is huge. And you are in this really cool space where you get to contribute on the field as a player, and then you get to contribute to the sport as an analyst. So, what has that been like?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's been really crazy because of, I think, how much this has blown up. Like, if I was still, if AU didn't exist, I don't even know what the softball world would look like, but I would probably be playing for a team that didn't have as much, notoriety. I would literally just be playing for the love of the game. Like, now I feel like it's a lot bigger, there's more opportunities, but it wouldn't be as big as it is, and I wouldn't be as in the know. But now, like, looking as almost like the outside looking in. Like, we'll be listening to a game and some of the girls will be like, "Ugh, why did they have to say that? Like, they always have to phrase it, and I'm like, "But guys, like, you have to remember, like,
Actually,
they're not here to make you look good. They're here to tell the story." Like, and if you're the best player on the team and you're striking out 15 times, unfortunately, that is a story. So, like, I'm explaining to
holy,
them in a different way, and, like, they're explaining to me in a different way too. So it's nice to be able to, like, back and forth, but I also understand what's happening behind the scenes of, like, there's a producer in
wow.
their ear and they're talking about this. They have their stories set up before we even go into the game. So, like, they're probably gonna be talking about you at one point, or, like, if you're mic'd up that day, they're probably going to talk to you beforehand about, like, an interview on the field. So you're like, "Okay, I gotta be prepared." So then during the entire game, they're on you, right? The camera's following you the whole game. They'll be clipping videos of you the entire game if you say something funny, if you say something insightful, if you say, anything that could be of value to a viewer, they're gonna clip that and they're gonna put it on there. So, I think more than anything, it's allowed me to see the game in a different way, and, like, sometimes I'll say I'm watching the game with, like, my broadcast hat on, and sometimes I'm watching it with my athlete brain on. Like, there's different things that I'm looking at when I'm watching a game based on if I'm about to be in the game or if I'm just watching and understanding the way that these players are making decisions.
Yeah,
So if I'm watching a college game, I'm thinking about if I was the hitter in the box, like, what would I be expecting next? Like, I'm trying to predict situations to happen, or I'm telling you maybe what that player was feeling in the moment. But the only reason that I have that knowledge is because I've been on the other side. And, like, I know when I'm in this moment that I can tap back into those emotions. What was I feeling? What was I thinking? What did I expect? Like, what did I expect of myself? What did I expect of my team, of my coach? Like, all of these things open up, and because you have that experience, of course, that's why they give us the job, is the experience part, but
right,
being able to also communicate that in a way to players or to people that have never played the game and have never been in that situation, and kind of trying to, like, let them in behind the curtain a little bit of, like, what are they thinking? Like, what could this be? And sometimes the answer could be really deep, and sometimes it's just like, "Oh, I had a lapse in judgment," so it is cool to be able to get to see both sides, and grow the game because I think being an analyst helps me be a better softball player, but also being a softball player helps
Mm,
me be a better analyst too. So it's a great gig and like
yeah,
I love, love, love doing both. It's definitely different, like different kind of nerves, different kind of
yeah.
um pregame jitters and but even like the adrenaline afterwards. Like I don't go to sleep for at least 2 to 3 hours after I get off camera. Like you know how it is. Like it's just something about it's like game day jitters when even when I'm going on
Yep.
camera. So it's drawing from a lot of those same emotions and experiences, but channeling them in a different way physically.
Yeah, and those are 2 full-time jobs, and I know the hours and whatever, if you got down to it, not necessarily full-time, whatever, but they are. They're big responsibilities on both sides, and there are a lot of benefits. Like, you're getting insight both ways. You're sharing with your teammates, like, "Hey, take it easy. They're doing their job," or, vice versa. And you don't I mean, the majority of the athletes you see on TV are retired. Like, you
Right.
look at your Tom Brady's, right, who are
Yeah.
now analysts, they're done with the game. To be doing it at the same time, yes, it has pros, but is there ever a time where, maybe you've got your broadcast hat on or, you see a little crossover and you have to kind of remind yourself, "Hey, I'm a player right now, like, I don't need to, be focusing on that," or when you're on camera, maybe, like, kind of feeling the athlete part sink in a little bit, and I know they cross and that's the whole purpose, but do you ever have to check yourself to remind yourself, "Hey, I'm wearing this hat right now."
100%. I think more
I
so
figured.
having to check myself on camera, like
Mhm.
being an analyst because, you've been around the game so long and like there are a lot of things that you can say that in the softball world don't really hold a lot of weight and like
Yep,
is just like an everyday saying, right? But if the average person would hear you say that, they'd be like, "Oh my god, like why would she ever say that about someone?" But to us it doesn't like register that way. So I would
right,
say more than anything on camera, you really have to check yourself and make sure like what you're saying is fair, like generally. And like for me, I never try to shit on players. Like I never am like, she's terrible, worst play you could ever make.
right,
It's always like, hey, maybe that's not the play she wanted to make, but like if it were to go to plan, this is kind of what would happen. Or maybe if it's they didn't finish a play, I would say something along the lines of like, this was an amazing play. Here's why. If I want to take it up to the next level, here's what I would do after. Like I'd be looking at the next base. Like I'd
mm,
be making that throw before I even knew where the runner was because I know where she's going to be according to where the ball was hit, which way the defender is going. So I'm able to kind of give that knowledge without making it seem like I'm better than them or like making it
yep,
seem like they're not as good as me because I'm a pro,
yep,
So sharing the information, but also being very aware of like, these are real people who are going to hear this breakdown and like trying to make it feel more about the breakdown than the shortcomings of the player.
yep,
So
that
it's a
that's a
balance.
skill.
It's a balance for sure. But it also allows me, I think, to get to know them on a softball level. Like Brie Ellis, for example, like her and I were teammates this summer, thankfully. But learning stuff about her from her coaches, from interviews. So like we were at the SEC tournament, and for the first time ever, we were trying a new interview system. So we were getting to interview these players live on the field right before the game. And so we're talking to them. I'm like, one of them, we actually got to interview the coach as well. So we got to interview DJ Gasso. And I took that as an opportunity to be like, hey, like, I'm going to be playing with Bree this summer. What are some things that you would tell me as a teammate? Like how when she gets maybe she's overthinking things, like what is some advice you maybe have for me to help coach her along the way? And so, you get
Great question.
thank you,
Wow.
thank you.
Sorry.
But we get different insight depending on like what you're asking. So I think if you keep your mind big and don't just focus it on like, oh, how is Bree so good? Like making it more than just like what it is on the field, like because there's so many things that go into being a good softball player. It's not just the physical. It's the mentality, the work ethic, the just grit to not lose. Sometimes
Yeah,
how the team is gelling in that moment, or maybe something's happening off the field. You really never know, so learning as much as you can about a player in that aspect, I think only helps you understand them more as people, And
Yeah.
that's where I feel like I thrive, especially now as like an older player and considered a vet. Um, I realize that like pouring into the person helps you get results on the field and like building those connections and those relationships. You can learn everything you need to know about someone on the field based on the film, but like you'll never get to know like why they were thinking that way in a certain situation, or maybe they're
Right.
lacking the confidence that game, or maybe they've been in their head, and everybody's been there. Like I try to use my experiences, and I don't want to say like project them onto them, but like I've been through a lot of things that they've already been through. So understanding how to relate to them on that level also help them realize like it's not that serious. Like it's just a game at the end of the day. Like
Right.
we still love
Right.
you. Like you're still our friend, like you're still our teammate. Like I would rather see you fail than not play the game anymore.
Yeah.
So, it's like finding that balance of like getting the most out of someone physically and mentally, but also like them believing in themselves too, because that's such a big jump from college to pro. And a lot of people don't talk about that aspect of it. And it can be very jarring if you're not prepared for it. So,
Mm.
helping them just like acclimate to the environment and like the style of
Right.
play and the pace of the game and the conversations that people are having. So just trying to be inclusive. But yeah, I do think being an analyst helps me be a better player. And I think being a better player for sure helps me be an analyst. Like I could never, if I only played like 2, 3 years of pro ball, I don't think I would be at the level that I currently am as an analyst, only because of the experiences that I've had and the people that I've met
Right.
along the way.
Wow. You have an empathy that other people can't have because they don't have the experience. It's so cool to see that, truly. And as somebody in media, like, I'm looking at you, I'm like, this is insane. Like, do people even realize that she's playing and like this is insane?
Yeah,
Um,
I honestly don't know if people sometimes realize, like, they know a lot of the times that I do both, but I don't think they realize, like, to what degree, I
right.
guess,
Right.
because
They
it
see
is a
it,
lot.
but yeah, girl. When I found that out that you were playing at the same, I'm like, I
Like,
can't
"Huh?
even figure it out like full time on the media side, much less be a full time athlete as well. So more power to you.
Thank
You
you,
got my
thank you."
respect for sure.
Oh, thank
Um,
you, I appreciate it.
I have to ask you about the draft
Yeah, oh my god.
because what this was monumental on ESPN. Full on draft. You were drafted to the Cascade. So first off, you're coming from the reigning champs to an entirely new team. Oh, not you throwing up the claws, the Talons.
Oh.
Okay, y'all saw it. That'll be the last time she does that because now she's on another team. But for the Mems,
Yeah.
what was your reaction like to being drafted to the Cascade?
Yeah, so a little bit of backstory to Jamie Lowprice, the GM of the Cascade, is also an Aggie, and I've
Oh,
known
come on.
her since probably my freshman year of college is like when we started meeting them, and so she was actually in the same class as Amanda Scarborough. So they were the class of '08, and that
Yep,
class in A&M is very special because it was Amanda, Jamie, Megan Gibson, like all of like the really talented players, and that was the last time
yep.
that they went to the World Series. The '08 team, they made it to
Wow.
the national championship, and that's like the team that people always talk about. So for us, it was like rebuilding the legacy that they left, and we were class of '18. So I think it was 2 falls ago, but we had gone up for an alumni like day, and there was very few of us there. And it was me, Amanda, Jamie, one of my best friends to this day, Erica, who was a part of my class. And we called ourselves the class of 8 just because we were like, "Oh, you're a 0, we're a
But
1.
the
Let's just be class of 8." Like, we're just class of 8
8.
because we've always got along really well, and, like, we're always around because, Amanda's doing games and she lives in Austin, so she's close. She'll be hanging out around the clubhouse. She calls games. I call games, so I'm there. Jamie loves A&M softball. She's very loyal to A&M softball, so she always comes to games. She actually came to the World Series when we were in the World Series. She came like to OKC and like they were cheering us on, so it was like really cool. And
I love
even
that.
my senior year when we played super regionals in Florida because she lives in Florida, she came to the super regional, and I have a picture with her after game 2, and like it's so cool like hearing one that she was chosen as the GM because I think no one is more capable than Jamie. She's like such a genius on and off the field, like very business savvy, but also an incredible human. Like nobody that I would rather be behind, like running a team and like building an organization with. Especially like hold it close to my heart because we're both Aggies, and we know that Aggies take care of Aggies for sure. But I actually had discussed with her a little bit before. She was like, I just want to get your opinion on like, some of the pitchers or like who do you think you have trouble with or like all of these things. So just kind of giving her some insight, like, oh, what are they like off the field and all of these things. So I'm on the phone with her and she's like, I asked her, I said, what do you want this team to look like? Like, what's your ideal characteristics of your team? And she was like, well, I really want to make it like a young, like youthful team, but I also have to have that veteran leadership. And like, I'm on the phone and I'm thinking like, is she gonna pick me? I'm like,
She's hinting.
I was like, is that a hint or is that just like in general? I'm like,
Right.
it could go either way. So obviously she couldn't be like, I'm picking you. So she didn't tell
Right.
me that. So I'm like going into the draft, I'm like, all right, you guys, we'll see what happens. And obviously, it was very exciting to get chosen. I think that's always amazing that somebody sees value in what you bring on the field and off the field in my case as well. But she was like, I tried to hint to you to tell you that I wanted you to be on my team, but I didn't know if you got the hint. But like, of course, I want you. You're an Aggie. Like, she was like, you're a great leader, like all of these things. So I'm like, oh, you scared me, Jamie. Like, I didn't know what
Yeah.
was going to happen. It is bittersweet. Obviously, like, I think what we built this past year with the Talons was magical, to be honest. Like, I don't think that there's a better way to describe it. There is just like a phenomenon in sports where you feel when a team is gelling, and that's what it was. Like, there was just so much understanding and respect and just pure joy of like being with that group. And not only on that side, like outside of the field, but on the field, just pure competitiveness and like understanding of the fact that it didn't have to be you, right? Like it could be anyone in our lineup. And that is the true determining factor, I think, in a successful team. And not only just like winning games, but seeing success throughout the lineup. Like you could go pretty much to any series of ours, and there was a different hero every single game. And I think that is special because not only is it like on the field, like, yes, you want to perform, but also the mental side of it off. Like, it's easy to kind of get caught up in your own nonsense of being like, oh, well, she's the one that had the success again. Like, when is it my turn? Like, it's easy to get
Yep.
selfish in that way. And I think our team did such a great job at just taking things at face value and like really learning from the game that we just played, not just running out and then leaving after. It was like, let's sit down, let's take accountability for some of the things that happen. Like, our outfielders are like, hey, I need to make that throw on the other side of your body. Like, to make a better tag for the catcher. Mine, I made an error one
Yep.
time and I was like, hey, I didn't have my sharpest game defensively. Like, I will be better for you guys. And like, almost always the next game or like the next series, whenever it was very short thereafter, that person would step up. And like, for
Yep.
me, I remember saying in Utah, I had a terrible defensive game. Like, I'm going to be better for you guys. And then the next day, I had two hot shots hit at me and somehow stop them. And I'm like, I told you guys I would have your back. And like, the cool part is too is like you don't want to let your team down. After that, you're like, okay, I
Right.
took accountability. Like, now I need to step up and make it happen for my team. So it was truly a special season from the players to the coaching staff. Our GM, Coach Lisa, she was incredible all season. You can feel her belief and her passion for the game as well. And I'm gonna miss them so much. Like, I think we created such a great system, but at the same time, like, I'm very excited again to be chosen and people see value in me and what I bring to the field, and knowing that we have the opportunity to build something new. And like, I can take some of those characteristics from the Talons and bring those over to the Cascade and now create what we want to create as a team and create our own identity. So that is really like what I'm looking forward to, is like getting to play with a lot of these people that I've never met before, or played with before. So It's gonna be a fun summer. I'm really excited about being on the Cascade, and of course with Jamie, my Aggie. You know,
That's so awesome. You have a truly you have great insight, and part of it is probably because you're used to giving your insight on camera. But I mean, coming out the gate, you've just dropped a lot of knowledge that I think a lot of people will learn from. I've already kept you for almost an hour, but I do want to ask you one more thing. You said way in the beginning of this, as you were sharing your story and your journey. Um, hang on one second. I might
I
have to
lost
edit
you for a
this.
bit there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it says reconnecting.
Okay. Yeah. I think we're good. Yeah,
Okay,
we're still recording. Okay, we're
okay.
good. Of course, I have a sign on the door, the boys are messing with the Wi-Fi next door, so I'll have to have a
Oh
talk
my
about this
goodness.
after, but yeah, figures. Um, but as you were telling me your story earlier, a few things stuck out, and I like to leave the podcast with a piece of knowledge for people, listening. And you talked about a lot of the mental challenges that you experienced, and maybe you didn't even acknowledge them as mental challenges, but you shared, um, you know, being a freshman and not seeing the field because your coach didn't think freshmen should see the field. That's a moment of, "Hey, I have to self-reflect," and you said, "I learned something from it." And then going to A&M and, you're not on the best quote unquote team yet. You guys had to develop over the few years. It's easy for somebody to feel defeated because we're not winning games or we're not performing to our best ability. You go to Mexico and the coaching situation isn't ideal. Maybe, you know what, I'm done with the game because the coaches don't believe in us. They're not doing their job. What are we doing it for? You seem to have come across a lot of different, crossroads of you. It would be very easy to question yourself or what you're doing with the sport. Um, and from the way that you spoke about it, you spoke with so much conviction and you took accountability and what can I learn from this? And you're just very confident. So for players, young girls, college players, pro players that might come across this, that in those moments where you're tested and it'd be very easy to go into a mental spiral or, disperse blame elsewhere, what would you say to come back to for them?
It's a good one because I do think, like, part of my personality, like, I've always been, like, I believe in myself more than anybody believes in me, and, like, you're never gonna take that away from me, ever, and, like, I've always been the loud, outspoken, more of a natural leader, like, that comes pretty easily to me, and, like, I know that not everyone has the same mindset as I do, but a lot of the things that I fall back on is, like, if I was telling this story to somebody else, like, would they be like, "Hell yeah," when I got to the point where I went through the hardships of being like, "What are you gonna do when your back's against the wall?" Like, everybody, of course, wants to fight through that, but, like, if I was telling this story to my friend, it's almost like a relationship, right? If you were, like, telling, "Oh, this guy, he told me this and that I suck and I'm not pretty and all these things," you're like, you would never let anybody speak to yourself that way. And a lot of times I think we speak that way about ourselves in our head. But if a friend said that to you, you would be appalled. You would be like, I am never speaking to you again. You don't respect me. You don't believe in me. But why is it okay for us to say that to ourselves?
Mhm.
So, for me, I've always fallen back of like, okay, step outside of the situation, step outside of the emotions, step outside of, what's happening in that very moment and understand from the outside of looking in like, okay, what can I control first of all, how do I want to approach this situation? How am I going to be able to sleep with myself really after knowing the decisions I have made? And for me, giving up, quitting, it was never an option. It was always just like, hey, the next day happens, like, how am I going to get through today? And one of my favorite more recent quotes that I have come across is, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. And, like, that is powerful because you hear all the time people say, "Oh, I can't, I can't." And I say, "Yep, you're right. If you don't believe in you, why should I believe in you?" Like, we have all of the power within ourselves. Yes, we need to outsource sometimes, but I truly believe if you take care of this, this will come after. And
Woo!
knowing that it doesn't have to be right now, like, delayed does not mean denied. Like, just because it's not happening right in this very moment doesn't mean that it never will. And you have to believe in that fully, because softball is a game of delayed success for sure. Like, yes, in the moment you can hit that home run, but the next at bat you could strike out and lose the game for your team. So knowing that the best moment could be in front of you is honestly a great reason to never give up, because why not you? Why not you? Why not you, like, hit the game-winning home run, make the diving catch, and, like, you that has to be your mentality, because if you don't wanna be the one in the moment, why would anybody else want you to be the one in the moment? And so,
Mm.
I've always chosen myself in times of hard and times of, wanting to maybe give up or wanting to move on to the next thing in life, but I'm like, I know I'm good at this. I know I have the work ethic to continue. I have the health to continue. Like, I have the will to continue. Like, why should I not do it? If my body is giving me the opportunity to do what I love for as long as possible, why not take that? And I feel like now we're in such a special time that they can. So I hope that all these young players now look at our league, look at the players in our league, hear them speak, hear what they have to say, to share about the game, and take it to heart and know that we are doing this truly for the next generation. If it was about us, we would have quit a long time ago. But knowing that we are going to leave the game of softball in great hands in the next generation is truly why I think a lot of us stay in the game and give back to the game, because we know what these players have inside of them. But I don't think they know it yet. So pushing them to that level of, like, how good do you truly want to be? Because it's there. You just have to grab it.
Wow. Well, I couldn't have that, like, I wish I could just post that to the entire world. I'm going to actually, but that is so valuable. You are a gem. This has
Oh,
been
thank
awesome.
you.
I appreciate you for giving me an hour of your time, and I'm sure everybody who watches this is going to say the same. You are incredible to watch on the TV, on the field, and you have been an inspiration to me, specifically in media. Just watching you do it all, it's very inspiring. So
Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate you.
Thank
I'm
you. And
excited to
before we
watch you
get
do your
off,
thing.
I have to tell you, thank you for taking a chance on our sport. I think it's very important that we see people that look like us covering our sport, and people that care, and, like, not just about what we produce on the field, but also off the field. So on behalf of all of us softball players, thank you for caring about our sport.
Oh, thank you. Out of left field, everybody.